Stevie Wonder's Innervisions. This album was released in 1973 when Stevie Wonder was 23 years old, and it was his 16th album. I mean, do your math on that. Now, keeping in mind that Stevie Wonder was coming from the hit factory of Motown. This was his background, where cranking out albums was the name of the game, and people would throw you songs. There wasn't a whole lot of original music that a person would do in that setting. Same was the case for Stevie Wonder. People would write him songs, he would do covers, and crank out album after album after album. But by the time he got to the 70s, Stevie Wonder was walking away from that idea and really looking at his own material and his own potential as an artist. And on Innervisions, you see his emergence, I think, of as an adult, like as an actual grown-up version of Stevie Wonder. Little Stevie Wonder is long gone at this point, and he's really looking at taking a mature view of his own music and the subjects that he's tackling. And what he's really looking at in this album, in my view, is the cultural disillusionment of the 60s. You know, by the time 1973 rolled around, there was all these promises made in the 60s of what the world was going to be like. And 1973 comes around, a lot of those promises didn't really come to pass. And a lot of the resistance music that you hear in the early 70s kind of addresses that issue. So Stevie Wonder started to position himself at this point as a social commentary as much as an entertainer. Now, as he's sort of delving into this classic period of his albums, this 5-album stretch, that Innervisions sort of is the centerpiece of, you see him start to also get involved with more experimental stuff. One of the main sounds on this album, I think, that's unique to a lot of Stevie Wonder's work at this time was his introduction to the Tonto synthesizer. This is a very early synthesizer, predates even the Moog instruments. But it really encouraged him to experiment more with layering and also wrest some artistic control onto his own music. And as a result, he wrote every lyric on this album. He played every single instrument, and encouraged by his producers at the time, really gave himself full artistic autonomy on Innervisions. And it paid off for him. This particular album was really well received by the critics and won a Grammy Best Album of the Year for 1973. It was a landmark album when it came out, and it really cemented Stevie Wonder's position as a visionary for soul music and music in general going forward.